And we're back, everyone.
Hey.
You know what I just realized?
What?
A Song of Tara has finally reached Tara.
Yeah.
Indeed,
Now all
it
we need
has.
is
Thank you
for
so
everyone to
much.
start singing.
I think if no one else reacts, I think Shiva, blinks a couple of times, shaking off the effect, and then she starts marching towards Ross.
He does look. Yeah, he does look at you. He's seen people wearing less walking towards him. So yeah.
And he can probably also tell from her body language and expression that she's very serious. Does he say anything when I arrive, or?
No, he looks expectantly at you, as if he's expecting you to have something to add to the horrible situation.
Just adding to this that Aaron is right behind you.
And when as soon as she's within reach, she just says, "Odd, Nick, Tricia, Michael are dead.
What?
We found them in Odd's apartment.
They were massacred."
He looks genuinely horrified at that. Like this man who is never phased, you can it's painted on his features. He is shocked.
And I think at this point, Shiva is teary-eyed again.
Would have said something if that little bitch wasn't yipping.
Taliesin comes up behind Shiva, or next to Shiva, his eyes burning, and remembering what Nick had told him about, gritting his teeth, just hisses out 3 very, very simple words to Ross as addition to what she's just said. Black spiral dancers.
That was nearly quelled. I think you need to say that again without swallowing your microphone.
Okay.
Yep.
Black spiral dancers.
He doesn't speak to that. He looks resigned in a way. It's like the initial shock died with that.
You and I have to ask. Connor looks toward Kat. How does she react?
Kat stands up. She has a look of absolute determination on her face, but she stands up and she approaches Ross as well. Waits to be acknowledged. He looks at her and says, "Yes. What do you want, Kat?" And she looks around and says, "This place is completely deserted. There are no defenders in this place. And while I realize that at the moment there are no defenders, at least except for the spirits back at the green, there aren't even spirits here right now. I think it doesn't feel like the cairn is as such is dead. I think they've gone into hiding. Ross, this is disastrous. This place should never be unguarded. Where's your brother?" Ross shakes his head and says, "I haven't got the faintest clue. He's not supposed to leave this place. He's never supposed to leave this place. Except, well, with Stag's permission, of course. Like when he's visited the Raven's Eye. But if he leaves, then his second in command is supposed to always be here at the cairn. His beta is supposed to... They can't both leave at the same time. It's not allowed."
Cat?
Yes.
You said that it looks like the spirits have gone into hiding. Have I mentioned that the spirits back at home seem to be foraging?
You mean they've been, what? Foraging? Like building nests?
Gathering, food and stuff, yeah.
I think you did mention that once.
Shiva raises her hand.
Yes, Shiva, what about you?
I think I think when we left, we were told the continuation of the prophecy. And she looks to the others because it's quite clear she doesn't remember all of it.
Is it all right, before I step in, I'd like to say, would anyone else like to recite it?
I think the obvious choice is Taran.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yep.
Are you there?
I'm here, but I were an idiot and closed it down, but yeah, Taran would have remembered everything.
Oh, it's still there. It's under the handouts.
Right, there. Nancy just starts. These 6 will wash away blood with blood, drown tears with tears, burn rage with rage. And as the scepters turn and split asunder, these 6 must stay within my eye. When the once dead laugh, the dreams become nightmares. When the silver river no longer burns the flesh of she who was lost, and who now hides. Yes, these 6 must remain within my eye, or all will wither and die.
Kat looks at Taran with a grateful nod, and she looks back to Ross. You heard it, she said. When the sept is torn and split asunder, look at us. We were seconds away from killing each other, Ross. I have the utmost respect for you as a leader, Ross. You know that, but for once in your damned miserable life, make the right decision. Right now. That has every Fina in the group, or in the sept, except for Gorman. And Shiva on their feet, and hackles raised and growling and approaching her, and a good number of people lining up behind her.
I think actually Shiva also steps in front, or in between, and glares at them in a sort of, now you fucking behave yourself kind of look.
Ross sends Shiva an appreciative nod when she does that.
Everyone here needs to shut up right now. Runs with Stag. What's your order?
He thinks. He doesn't just answer, he thinks, and it's clear that he's contemplating what to do first. He says, we cannot afford to lose either of the 2 sets, or either of the 2 cairns. But we've just lost 4 of our number tonight from our group. And there's nobody here, and we have to assume the worst. My brother would not leave without letting me know, much as we disagree on things. We have to assume the worst. Especially with what you just told us, and with what Raven just said. We don't have any choice. Until such a time as my brother's fate is finally known, or he returns to us alive and well and hale and healthy, I hereby assume the mantle of Ari of all Fina in Ireland and the world. It is upon me to defend this cairn, the holiest of holy, from this point forward, until somebody else takes upon themselves that same mantle. There is a moment of absolute silence from everyone else. I don't know about you guys.
Fenna mumbles to herself. He's telling us to assume the worst, but I don't know what could be so bad that even the spirits have been spirited away.
I think Aaron shares in the silence for a moment, and just because I think he's pissed at the divisive nature of the rest of the sept.
Yeah.
And I don't think he means to. I think he just barks at everyone else. Does anyone object to Runs with Stag taking that position? Anyone?
Colonel studies Cat intensely. Cat folds her arms across her chest,
And there is something on her face and in her eye that tells, first and foremost, that says to you that she agrees with what he just did. But there's also something on her face that says, now do the right thing. She doesn't actually say it, but it's painted on her face. Ross then looks around again, and you can all see that Siobhan looks like she's kind of expecting something. And Siobhan, and he looks at her and says, I will need my beta here. You are next in line to be Banrian if I should fall. But we are not enough, and this sept can only be tended and minded by our tribe. Every Fina except for you, Shiva, because of what Raven said.
Shiva nods, kind of thinking.
And every Fina except for the lass over there, Bleeding Paws. That'll be your name, you just passed. But we can't have you here, not after that. You two will be the last Fina. In the Raven's Eye, Sept, Cat, it's yours. There is an explosion of sound.
Taryn draws whatever she had in her hand.
I assume that is as an explosion of objection.
No, it's mixed. The Fina explode in objection, and several others are clearly not in agreement either. The Geta Fenris, the remaining Geta Fenris, that would be, apart from the two in your group, I don't know. I can't say how you guys react, but other than that. So Eric and Xenia are cheering. Gorman is cheering, even though he wouldn't actually be in that sept anymore, but he is cheering. Both of the what are they called? The Black Furies are cheering. Caesar is cheering. There are a few who aren't really saying much.
Shiva would be one of those.
Yeah, I number Aaron among those as well.
I think
So,
Connor will probably be smiling, nodding a bit at the announcement.
Yeah, Finn isn't really cheering, but it's written all over her. This is the best thing that happened in this situation.
Yeah.
I think Shiva fully turns to Ross and gives him a very deep nod, almost a bow. And then she turns to Kat and nods to her as well.
She returns it. Ross looks like he's just gotten 10 years older over the course of about 5 minutes.
Poor guy.
But he's also, he's calm, he's collected, he's with it.
Good. I was almost about to have a reaction to that.
No, but it's definitely a tragedy, but he is definitely not losing it or anything of the sort. He's very much with it. And he looks at the rest of the Fina, apart from the two that he's listed, and he says, everyone else can go back to Dublin. We have to stay here and make preparations. We have no idea what will happen. We might not live the rest of the night. We might never know what has happened here. But something bad, whatever it was something bad. And we have to prepare for the worst. Is there any man or woman here who isn't prepared to die to defend this place? And he looks to the Fina, obviously, and they all shake their heads. They're all prepared. Clearly, he's asking if anybody is not prepared, and nobody's putting up their hands. So he nods And then he turns and looks at Kat and says, "We may not agree on a lot of things, Kat. But we have to make this work." She nods. There is no question she isn't hiding anything. She isn't playing. This is the most upfront and forthright any of you have seen her since you arrived in the Sept. And she nods and says, "Yes, we do. We are going to be very badly under strength, both places, and we're going to have to be able to rely on each other. I suggest that we let Nuri run back and forth with any messages that are needed that we can't send a spirit with a message of." And Ross nods and goes, "Yes, that would be the best option. He's skilled at delivering messages safely and swiftly. Obviously, that's what his tribe are known for." "You can't leave Ravenside undefended any longer with what has happened, Kat. Get your people together and go back." She nods. She looks at everybody else, turns around and goes, "Eric, Connell, find us some feckin' cars."
Yeah, boss. Connell stops, runs off to find some cars.
Eric goes with you. The rest of you, you do.
I think Shiva then realizes that Mary's Athena, so she won't return to Dublin. So I think she goes to find her to just kind of wordlessly say goodbye for now.
Yeah. She gives you a hug.
And it is returned.
And then she puts her key in your hands. "Well, you still need a place to sleep. I expect to get that back eventually."
And I'll keep it clean until you get back.
All right. Take care of yourself. And for goodness sakes, for Gaia's sake, she says, don't let the Gets completely destroy the place.
You know I won't.
Good. Good. Hey, Sheila.
Yeah?
I'm fucking proud of you. You've come a long way.
That makes, Shiva just smiles and holds back tears because she's really sad. And I think she just hugs Mary again.
Yep. What about the rest of you? What do you guys do?
Finna is kind of staying quiet while waiting for the moment we turn around to leave so she can deliver her final, farewell line.
Yep.
Let me see a minute. I think it may cost, but I think it's going to be appropriate if I do this. I'd like to spend a Gnosis point and use my Gaillard gift at this moment, if that's all right.
Yes, which one is that?
Call of the Wild.
Ooh.
Give me a second. I need to roll. I can't remember how to roll again.
Is that like a call of nature? Because
for the benefit of our listeners, could you inform us what Call of the Wild does?
How different is it from a call of nature?
Very different, thank God. Werewolf may send his/her howl far beyond the normal range of hearing and imbue it with great emotion, stirring the hearts of fellow Guru and chilling the bones of all others.
Yes.
Give me a moment. I need to... How do I roll the dice so I'm doing it stamina plus empathy?
You open your character sheet.
As always.
And then once you are on your character sheet, you scroll down until you find the dice pools. They're just below your ability dots. There's a series of blank spaces called dice pools.
Yep.
Just find one, like the top one. Just remove attribute, remove ability. Just leave those blank. Click roll, and then enter in for a pool mod. Enter the amount of dice you would have to roll.
Okay. Is there a difficulty?
On Call of the Wild. If you have to roll, then there's a difficulty. The question is what it is.
And let's see, number of success, effect, blah 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 blah.
Stamina plus empathy. If
It's
there's
a
no difficulty listed.
and if there's no difficulty listed, it's a difficulty of 6.
Correct.
Let's see what happens. 2.
2 successes. Excellent. That's good.
Okay, that's something. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. That's a good success. That actually, and what happens is he leans his head back and he howls. And as he howls, other Gaillards join in one at a time, and they. The howl quickly reaches a very loud crescendo. For those of you, well, all of you here are Garou. This is an incredibly empowering and stirring and very deeply emotional moment. It is also beautiful above everything else. And I guess we just had our song, Tara.
Wonderful. Title drop.
Yes, roll credits. Ding.
That's all, everyone. Thank you. We'll be playing Vampire next.
Shut up!
Come on, Daniel. We haven't really seen the apocalypse yet.
That's true. It's true.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, Vampire, that's easy. 2 minutes in, you've already seen the Masquerade. We haven't seen the apocalypse.
All right. Yeah, I think when the howling dies down and feeling empowered as it does and a bit less hopeless about what happened, Aaron approaches Ross.
Yeah?
And says, runs with Stag.
Yes.
This is gonna be your last time to say anything to the rest of them, he says, and he kind of tosses his head to the ones that are not Fine, who are gonna be leaving for St. Stephen's Green.
Yep.
This is gonna be your last time to say anything to those guys in a long time about the ones we lost tonight.
I should like to give them a better eulogy than to simply stand here and make one up on the fly.
I guess you would, but if the Black Spiral Dancers are in Dublin, some more of us might be dead the next time we meet.
Well, then we won't meet, I suppose, but I do understand your meaning. What I should like to say is that for those who did pass tonight, they will rest with Gaia, and the rest of us must find out who did this. We must make this. We can't make it right, but we can get even. He then turns and he looks at all of you, and then he looks briefly to Kat, who seems to understand what's going on, and she nods. He says, then I charge you, you 6, of whom Raven speaks so highly, to find the slayers of our friends and make them pay.
Yes, I want to say the word quest is very nerdy. It's like it has nerdy connotations, but I also have this feeling that is a word that would be used in Garou society.
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Not really. They speak of geeses and they speak of rights.
And this is a geese, I assume.
Well, then you would be compelled, which he doesn't. So he is literally just setting you a task or a mission, you could say. But yes.
Okay.
Daniel, it's not called a geese, it's called a goose.
I accept your goose, sir.
Very funny, very funny.
Task accepted.
She gave me carte blanche, I have to use it.
True. he looks at Kat and says, "It is your sept now, Throat Splitter. I will not make this official without your consent." And she nods again and looks at, well, all of you except for Connell, who is out finding cars. And she says, "Yes, it is official. This will be your right. Do this, and you will truly be Guru, and you will earn your ranks."
I think Aaron just nods to her. He doesn't he accepted the calling from Ross. When she says it, he nods because he's not really sure about this woman. She's but he does still recognize her as being the newly appointed leader of the Sept, so yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Finna also just nods because she's not really sure what else to do, being conflicted between anger, worry, sadness, and determination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Taliesin looks to Kat with an intensity in the eye that I think no one, even a guru of the age of 17, should have in his eye, and just says, "Blood with blood, tears with tears, rage with rage." And then nods as well. Oh, we have a Taran.
Hello.
You also have a slight change in the. Sorry,
Johan, Aya is very hard to hear, so we should probably let
absolutely,
speak.
absolutely, certainly.
Taran just goes to say goodbye to the Fina.
Yep.
And when she reaches Siobhan, she basically threatens to kill her if she dies.
She gives you a hug.
With the notion that if you die, I'm gonna kill you till you're dead.
She gives you a hug.
She gets one back. So at this point, Taran is crying because I've been spending willpower points for her not to break down after all this shit.
No worries.
I just had a thought, and that is that snapping out of this whole thing, I think Aaron drops his coat over Shiva.
She nods to him appreciatively because she was getting a bit cold.
Yeah, and then just waits for the cars.
Yep, and let's go over to find the cars.
Sure.
So, did you change to Connell, or?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be quiet then.
Oh, okay, did you have one...
No, it was more of when there's a moment for it, possibly when walking to the car, so it can wait.
Okay, sure. You and Eric are heading off to locate something to drive in. It's not that the Guru can't run back, but this is about getting back reasonably quickly and preferably without any more people bleeding.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So Eric has this maniacal grin on his face as you walk off. His whole face is just locked in this almost rictus-like grin. And then once he feels that you guys are out of earshot, he turns around and holds up a fist like he wants to give you a fist bump.
I return the fist bump.
Yes.
Fist bumps are made.
It's ours at last.
It sure would seem so.
Oh, there will be blood in the streets of Dublin. Oh, no more holding back.
Connell gets that same maniacal grin on his face as Eric mentions blood in the streets.
Oh, the leeches won't know what hit them.
It'll be good to tear out the throat of what's her face.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's right, Victoria. You saw her the first night, didn't you?
Yeah, she's... I'm telling you right now, Eric, she's mine.
Yeah, definitely. You get her, I get the rest.
Deal.
Fuck, this is good. Of course, I'm not terribly pleased about so many of us actually getting killed.
No.
It's not cool.
No, we lost 5, I think, tonight in Dublin.
Yeah. Shit. Right, that's obviously going to come back and bite us. Damn. You have no idea who did it, did you? I mean, you guys saw them. You have no idea.
Nope.
Who actually, no.
Well, something about spiral dancers.
Oh, things just got a lot more interesting.
Other than that, no, we have no specifics, but I'm assuming that's what we're about to go find out.
You know, if there are black spiral dancers in Dublin, we may even have to give the leeches a couple of months until we've hunted those bastards into extinction.
Can we make one exception?
With Victoria? Yeah. I'm sure we can do that.
Okay. It's cool then.
In any case, he says with an even bigger smile, in any case, that is now up to, that's now up to Kat to decide, isn't it?
It is.
Fuck yes.
It is.
She is gonna be amazing.
Of course she is.
And you know the best part is,
Hmm?
word of this is gonna go back to the old country, and they're gonna send a bunch of old-fashioned fuckers over here.
You think so?
Oh yeah, they will. They're going to send a bunch of old-fashioned assholes over here telling her that she can't lead because she's a woman and she's not a Modi, and then they're going to try and throw her out. Or make her back down. She's not going to back down, and then you and I are going to throw them out.
Sounds like a plan.
I think Fenna might actually take part in that as well.
Of course, why wouldn't she?
Exactly. I am fed up with the idea that they still cling to back there, that if you're a woman, you can't lead. I am so fed up with that shit.
Pass about the bollocks anyway.
Cat is the best we have.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's go find those goddamn cars.
Yep.
Oh, this is good. Whew. You guys proceed down the road, and you come across a parking lot. While it is night, there are still, a handful of cars that have been left there overnight by some people. And he grins and goes, "Hey, I think there should be enough cars here. Do you know how to hotwire one of these things?"
I may have hotwired a car before, yes.
That's good, because I haven't.
It's just gonna push it until the friction carries it.
Yeah. But I think Connell goes over to one of the cars and tries getting it to start.
Applying enough force over distance.
He tries to decide how to get into the cars, and in the end, he just basically shrugs, changes into Glabro, which in his case is just even shaggier than he already looks. And then he proceeds to put his hand through the windscreen on a couple of them.
Eric?
Yeah?
Gonna need the windscreen.
Oh, sorry. Then he does the same thing, but to the side window instead.
When you're so stupid that you make Connell look,
Ouch!
Burn!
Connell walks to the car that Eric just
procured?
That's putting it rather diplomatically, yes. And tries to start it. Yes. I don't know if you want to roll, but
you have larceny.
I do.
Yay! Let's have a roll.
Okay. So I just
But shit.
I'll bet you, I don't know, 10 kroner that I'll actually budget, because I don't think I've succeeded at a roll yet. Anyway,
if you roll another double botch, I'm gonna rule that the universe has decided your deed name.
Yeah. Okay. So what plus is it? Just larceny?
In this case, I think it would be dexterity plus larceny, because you have to fit the little cables together and shit.
Okay, let's see. We have 3, 2. Pull much. Difficulty?
5.
5. Let's see what happens. 0 successes.
Well, that's not a problem. You can try again. And I'll just say, you have time. You manage. Yeah. You have larceny. That's the thing. You know how to do it. So, you managed to get enough cars started, and basically, he said, well, you keep them running. He says, and I'll go back and get the rest of them running down here.
Cool. Connell does so. He just makes sure that there are enough cars ready for all of us.
Yeah. Well, the rest of you guys, you see Eric coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And he's waving and shouting that they have cars.
Cool.
Okay, well, I guess I follow him.
Yep.
I up nod whiskey breath on the way. Like, sup, see ya.
He gives you an up nod in return. There's a very somber mood, I think would be the right way of putting it.
Well, if it's generally quiet, then as we turn to follow Eric.
Yep.
After a few steps, Finna turns around and says, Finas, don't you dare die. If anyone's going to kick your potato-eating asses, it's the Vikings, okay?
Grr. Grr. Plenty of grrs going on there.
Nobody's convinced.
Don't die.
Nobody's convinced.
I think a thought occurs to me.
Yep.
Aaron supports the probably on 5 aggravated health levels of damage bleeding paws as we move towards the cars.
Very good thought. I was actually about to ask if somebody helped her.
Yeah.
Joan,
Yes?
does Kat leave first or last?
Last.
In that case, Shiva stays behind until Kat looks like she's about to leave.
Yep.
And she looks at her and says, a suggestion, if I may.
Certainly.
Odd has just died, and in a sense, we stood up the Fae tonight. As one of 2 remaining Fina in the sept, I would like to volunteer to go as in between to speak with them. They might know something.
You know what? I'm going to let you do that. I think that's, yeah. We're going to need someone new. And I think, as you said yourself, yeah, you did kind of stand them up. I think you should bring your friends and go and see them. And you should explain to them what has happened, because the point is you were going there on the absolute off chance that they have any idea what happened with Odd and the others.
Mm-hmm.
Go and talk to them and bring your friends.
When? Now?
Let's get back to the sept as soon as we are clear that everything there is as it should be. You go to the Bleeding Horse. It's very near the Sept anyway.
Shiva nods and walks towards the car.
One thing.
Yeah?
They have a presence in the Umbra. They do actually have areas in the Umbra that overlaps with the dream world, which, as I understand it, my fairly limited understanding of Fae, there is a bleed over in some areas between their world and ours.
Shiva nods.
And she says that means it might be possible for them to help. I don't expect them to help in the Raven's Eye, Cairn. I don't expect them to be able to muster up much help there because that's not a holy place to them, just to us. But Tara is a sacred site to them as well as it is to us, and therefore make a formal request that they send what help they can to assist Ross. He's going to be in desperate need of it. There used to be 40 Garou in this place, and they were some of the strongest of the Fina. Now look at how few they are.
I intend to request an audience with the Bannerin.
Good. You do that.
Now there's all of 10 of them.
I think I wanted to say something.
Let's hear it.
No, I was just whispering you instead. I thought that was easier than taking up time with it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he gives you a hug back. Basically, guys, you see Taryn giving Barden a hug.
And then she goes to wait for Simba.
Yes.
Yeah.
You. Yep.
I inform the others that we have something to do, and I inform them of what, and I inform them to let me do the talking.
Yes.
And it's not a request.
All right. Well, I'm going to let the rest of them react to that as they will, but the point is everyone gets into a car and drives back towards Dublin.
Yep.
Just one thing before we actually drive. When people start arriving at the parking lot, they see Connell in Krino's form trying to lift one of the cars.
For any reason, or just to see if he can?
Just to see if he can.
Bench pressing motorcycles.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, such an asshole.
Taryn chooses this time to try to distract.
Yeah. What did Taryn do?
She tries to distract him while he tries to lift this fucking car.
In what way?
She's
So he
tickling
drops
him.
it.
Oh, God.
It's possibly the worst idea. You're gonna be under that thing if he drops it.
Not if she's standing behind him.
She is.
He can't actually lift the car over his head.
No, I didn't think he would.
No, but you can actually sort of flip it.
He will probably do that then.
How
One
much
of the cars
strength does he have in Krynos?
8, right? No.
And he still can lift a car?
+4. He has
Ours,
strength
what-
8 in Kranos, yes.
Well, if we're gonna
that
be
should
rules lawyery about it, technically for most parts it's willpower that determines feats of strength and not strength.
I was going to say let's not, because it was just one
Yeah.
of those odd Connell things.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, let's not.
You can throw a motorcycle, apparently.
How many of us are in the pack are going to be per car?
you would be able to lift about 1,000 pounds with 8 points of strength. A car does weigh more than that.
It
usually.
does. It does.
He could lift a smart, maybe?
Yeah, you would be able to lift the Morris Minor.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
But as we all know, by the way, just as a little jab at Onyx Path Publishing, as we all know, when you reach that sweet spot of 11 strength, the cosmos breaks and you can suddenly lift 20,000 pounds, And then when you get 12, you can only live 3,000.
Yeah.
What?
Because someone pushed 0 one too many times.
Yes.
Exactly. Anyway, guys.
Yep.
You
Returning to
the game.
Yeah.
You all drive back to Dublin. Do you guys try to get into the same car, or do you spread out, or how do you go about this?
I have this sense, Aaron has the sense, I should say, that Shiva and Taliesin are going to be in a state needing companionship, because the people who are very near to... I mean, these people were near to us, but something definitely happened between Shiva and Finds a Way, and of course between Taliesin and Peacenik. So he's going to make a conscious effort of being with those two.
Yeah. You so you three, do any of you guys have the ability to drive a car?
Yeah.
You do.
Yep.
What does that require?
Drive.
Drive and Dex.
I don't, but I do have jack of all trades.
Fine. You can drive a car.
Connell has one dot and drive.
You can drive a car as well. No problem.
I think since Taran also wanted to stay with Shiva, as far as I understood, we're probably all in the same car together.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
We go together like
Just starting the car and driving.
Yes.
Room.
I also think that Aaron will find Shiva in a very staring intensely out the window, not saying anything kind of mood.
Yep.
Benna is also not very talky.
No, I don't think anyone is really.
No. So you guys get back to Dublin. Amazingly enough, you get back to Dublin in one piece.
I think
Don't explode.
No.
I want to say Aaron does talk at one point during the drive.
Yes.
And he just says, in general to the car, not specifically to the ones making a point of being quiet. Just saying, whatever you need to deal with, get it out of the way fast. I know, I fucking know, okay, I know. But whoever hit us is not gonna wait for us to catch our breath. Be ready.
We're going to visit the Fae as soon as possible. I should like some clothes.
Stop by your place after we stop by the Sept. I'm sure Kat has something to say to us.
Shiva nods. Please, when we do, let me lead the way. Take the lead. As one of two Fina, it should fall to me.
It only makes sense. I think you'll be good at carrying that torch.
Shiva looks out the window so you can't see her very wet eyes. She's not, crying, but...
touched.
Yeah, touched and sad.
Yeah, I think it's
In her mind. Yeah, sorry, go on.
You sure? You can carry on if you want.
Oh, yeah, I'll just finish then. In her mind, she shouldn't have to carry the torch yet.
No, I think Taliesin has... Now they're in the car and on the way back, when he finally permits him... Not when he permits, but when he finally finds the ability to actually cry again. And just... He's definitely thinking very, very, very intensely about something.
Taran puts an arm around him.
Rasmus, approximately how tall is Shiva?
I will look. I think I wrote it down, but I might just have written that she's tall. Yeah, she's just quite tall.
Okay.
I'll check, but
I don't know what you consider quite tall. I wanted to know how close she is to Finna's build.
In that case, I'll just go out on a limb and say she's 175 centimeters.
Okay, then after it's been quiet for a little while, which I assume it's going to be after words have been said and stuff, Finna looks at Shiva and says, if you want to get it over with, we can go straight to Kat's house and you can borrow some of my clothes.
I think Shiva looks at Fenna. Does Fenna own an abundance of black clothing?
Black with some colors sprinkled in.
Black with dashes of hot
maybe
pink.
actually, if you look at no, maybe not so much that, but if you look at the image of her, it's mostly just subdued colors like that.
The main reason is that Shiva is feeling like morning clothes would be a thing.
Definitely a lot of dark clothes.
She just nods appreciatively then.
I mean, she is Danish. It's like, black is like our national color, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Black is the new black.
So does something significant transpire when we return to the Sept that we should have a scene about, or does what we all expect to happen, and we can move on to moving towards the Fae?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, in that case, I suspect that's what happens.
In that case, it might be time for a break.
Yeah, I think so. Like, we could take a break now and then come back for the last part of tonight's session.
Yep.
All right, let's do that. We'll be right back with more Song of Tara. Stick around.